Hello everyone, it's great to be here. Thanks for inviting me. This is great. I love coming to these. I was at a picnic yesterday in Bloomington, and I have actually 2 more this week, and so it's must be picnic week or something here in Minnesota. But my name is Andrew Hasek. I'm chairman of Minnesota College Republicans. I was elected in April, and prior to that, I served as chairman of St. Thomas College Republicans, which I'm proud to say is the largest and most active college Republican chapter at this moment in the state of Minnesota. Other than that, I actually work for the Republican Party in Minnesota this summer on a voter ID blitz, which we target unidentified voters based on if they live in strong or weak Republican areas. So I've been working on that this summer. I'll talk a little bit about what I do for that role, and then college Republicans and what's going on there too. I'm actually from Fairmont, Minnesota, a little bit about myself, so just 50 minutes west of here, and then graduated from there in 2010. And so if you're unfamiliar with the terminology, an unidentified voter is a voter that we know gets to the polls, but we don't know who they vote for. You might say, well, Andrew, why is that important? Why do we need to know who people vote for, who they support? Well, it's important to know because if we can figure out who our supporters are, who our big fans are, then that'll help us and all of our candidates succeed in 2014 up and down the ballot. And that's extremely important here in the 1st Congressional District because, believe it or not, this Congressional District lies +1 Republican, meaning that it leans Republican, and that the seat can teeter back and forth between opposing political parties. And as you know right now, we are stuck with Congressman Tim Walz. He's been in there since 2007. And does anyone want to take a guess how many Democrats have actually served in the 1st Congressional District in Congress since 1861 when Minnesota became a state? Does anyone want to guess? 73. I heard 2. It's actually 4. And of course you need to keep in mind that the size, jurisdiction, and the demographics of the district have changed a little, quite a bit in 150 years. But it still lies +1 Republican, meaning that this district is in play, and it should be in play every single cycle. And what's really interesting is that if you look at that number, actually guess how many Republicans have served in the United States Congress from the 1st Congressional District. It's actually 14. So I mentioned that it lies +1 Republican, and that we currently have a Democrat, and it's traditionally been held by Republicans. So why can't we win? Why can't we win this seat? And so you need to look at 2 things mostly. One of them is the strength of the candidate that we put up against Mr. Walz, and the second is the infrastructure. And my job here in the 1st Congressional District this summer is the infrastructure part. And so what I do is I pretty much go after these unidentified voters. I put them in a database, and then I turn that database over to the county organizations so that we can elect Republicans in our area. It's extremely important, and also another thing that I like to focus on too in this role is making sure that our county organizations are strong and working smoothly, that we're having events such as this, we're attracting media attention, that we're going after new and energetic volunteers. Because let's face it, you guys, and the college Republicans too, are the troops that we need to get our candidates into office in 2014. And it's extremely important. And so you may ask me, Andrew, what does this role have to do with college Republicans? And I say, actually, both of these roles have a lot in common. Because one of my roles as chairman of Minnesota College Republicans is to provide an environment where students can advocate in their beliefs in conservative causes, the national debt, individual liberties, the list goes on and on and on. But the other part of my role is to make sure that we are an organization that can help out candidates either get into office or keep them in office. And that's a huge part of it. What's really interesting is, of course, I'm a Republican on a college campus, and it's not the most popular thing a lot of the times, as we all can imagine. But what's even less popular is being a vocal Republican in a group of them on a college campus. And I'm proud to say that at St. Thomas we do a great job. Of course, St. Thomas is a fairly moderate school, I would say, and I haven't run into really anything that terrible there. However, we do have chapters, and one of them just down the road. We have one at McAllister. Yeah, we do. The number 7 most liberal college in America. We have a College Republicans chapter. And guess what? They used to be number 1, so I like to think we're making a little bit of progress there. We also have chapters at, University of Minnesota, Duluth. We have one at Alabama, Twin Cities. We have them all over the place. There's about 18 in all of them. And we know that the work that we are supposed to go and do to hold events on campus, invite conservative speakers, really anything that moves the needle and helps us either get Republicans elected or kind of change the course of that trajectory. And one thing you need to keep in mind, and I was reading the report released by the College Republican National Committee just a few weeks ago, and they said that Barack Obama actually beat Mitt Romney among voters under 30 by 5 million. And what's really interesting is if you look at Mitt Romney and how he did with voters over 30, he actually beat Obama by 2 million. And so, of course, 5 million is a little more than 2, and the support among the youth was enough to actually reinsure the president was reelected. So that's very interesting. We know we have a lot of work coming ahead of us, trying to recruit this time of year and everything. But another thing I wanted to talk about real quick is, I mentioned it earlier, we are a campaign arm for Republicans seeking office. And when I was chair at St. Thomas, before this, I'll provide a little example here. We had meetings every Thursday. We did more than just have these meetings though. We had a bunch of great speakers and everything, that was great. But I took those members and I said, hey, let's go door knock, let's go make some phone calls, let's go, help these people out. And so we weren't helping just candidates in St. Paul. We were helping candidates in the Western Metro. We helped out a couple legislators. And what's kind of funny, actually I helped with Keith Downey when he was running for state senate. And now he works for the Republican Party of Minnesota and is kind of the boss. So that's kind of funny how that worked out. And we even made trips to Rochester. We made trips to Duluth to help out Trip Quebec. We were everywhere. This was one chapter. This was St. Thomas alone. And among 30 members, we were able to volunteer more than 630 hours for candidates all across the state. And so my goal as chairman of Minnesota College Republicans in a non-election year is to do that at 17 more of those. Because imagine the impact that we can have moving forward with all that manpower. And so, hopefully by now you can see some of the similarities between a county organization such as yourselves, activists such as yourself, and the College Republicans. We're pretty much doing the same thing, just in a different manner. We're on the college campuses, but we still help a lot with the get out the vote effort too. And so, what I'm here to really hit on is that you guys are the most important assets that we have to candidates that are running for office. And we need to help them in any way that we can. And one way to start is with some of this voter identification work, seeing who our allies are and who we don't want to waste time on. And so if we can do that, there's a good chance that Tim Walz is currently serving his last term in Congress, that Mr. Mark Dayton is first, that he forced Mr. Mark Dayton to retire, and that we can send Senator Al Franken back to Hollywood. And I really hope that the next couple of months that we see some of this fire, reignite, and both on college campuses and around here too. And I'm happy to be in both of these roles, helping out with College Republicans and down here in southern Minnesota, where I'm from originally. And other than that, thank you for having me. Check us out on Facebook, Minnesota College Republicans if you're on there, Twitter, we're at MNCRs, or we actually have a website too, mncr.org, so we're everywhere. Also, if you would like to donate to our cause, please talk to me after. We would love any support that we could try to start a chapter and a bunch of different schools too where we haven't made any progress yet. So, thank you for having me, glad to be here, and enjoy the rest of your evening.